German prosecutors have charged at least 12 men for plotting well-funded armed attacks on mosques. 10 of them have been detained, while one suspect is on the run. Another suspect is said to have killed himself while in police custody. The men, who belonged to far-right groups, wanted to kill as many Muslims as possible, quote-unquote. According to the authorities, the suspects planned to create civil war-like conditions through these mosque attacks. The suspects, who comprised 11 gang members and an accomplice, met regularly. 11 of them even pledged to contribute $59,000 to finance weapons purchase. All suspects, aged between 31 and 61, are Germans. Germany has been seeing a rise in right-wing attacks in the recent years. Far-right extremism remains a sensitive issue in the country because of the Holocaust, which happened during the Nazi regime. Joining us live on the broadcast is investigative journalist Michael Kay, joining us live from Norway. Hi, Michael. Thanks very much for speaking with us. Your initial assessment of the details that have trickled in so far.
Molly, it's a multi-spoked problem that we're looking at here. Within Germany, you've already mentioned the historical context in terms of the Holocaust, World War II. You have had, since that despicable time or period in Germany's history, the swastika is now banned. You are the Hitler salute that became synonymous with Hitler is also banned, and Holocaust denial is also banned as well. So Germany has, along with withdrawing its foreign policy after World War II, Germany has taken this very seriously. But what we're seeing now is obviously the rise of the far right, which is predicated on political parties, and the preeminent political party inside Germany is called the AfD, or the alternate for Germany, the D being Deutsche, German. And that has gained significant prominence. That party is only 7 years old, but it's now got representation across the 16 states in Germany, although it did only get 30% of the popular vote in the last election. So that is an important factor to take into consideration. So with the political parties who are leveraging campaign promises like reducing immigration and sort of this veiled white supremacist approach, this is what's happening. But when it comes to the tactical side, there are two very different sort of methods that are being used here. If you look at sort of the Islamic State as a template, that's an organization that has harnessed social media probably better than any other criminal organization in the world to try and achieve its objectives. It's very much out there. It's very much transmitting what its ideals and objectives are. Yet on the other side, you've got this right-wing component that seems way more clandestine. If you read the reports, it's hard to try and understand who the groups are. Yes, they're terror cells. Yes, they're operating in the dark places, but they're not overtly out there advocating attacks on mosques, attacks on Muslims, attacks on immigrants. And so I think that is something that the German authorities and the intelligence authorities are going to have to work even harder to try and sort of unearth those links, those terror cells, and where the financing's coming from, where the weapons movements are coming from, and so on and so forth. So I think that's an important distinction to make from the outset.
Right. Germany has been seeing a rise in right-wing attacks in the recent years. In light of this latest attack, where the men belonging to those right-wing groups have reportedly said that they wanted to kill as many Muslims as possible, quote-unquote, where do you think Germany should draw the line now? What stance should the country take from now onwards, according to you?
I think what's really important is German Chancellor Angela Merkel. She's having to tread a very sort of delicate line, because her immigration policies have been very accepting of asylum seekers, and the asylum seeker bit is important because you're not a refugee until you've been termed you're a refugee through the asylum seeker process. You're not an immigrant until you've been determined an immigrant through the asylum seeker process, and the asylum seeker process can take an infinite amount of time. in order to determine those decisions and place someone accordingly. So when you look at how many people, refugees or asylum seekers that Germany's taken in, it's a lot. You then having to balance the acceptance of that with this rise of right-wing crime. And obviously those people that will try and leverage their anti-immigration policies will be using the fact that the current Chancellor, Angela Merkel, has had those immigration policies, and therefore will be sort of looking at those immigration policies as a raison d'etre to the current problem. So it's kind of this catch-22 situation. I think the other issue is that the German authorities, the intelligence authorities, the security authorities will be working hard, because obviously there isn't just a right-wing threat. There's an Islamic State threat as well in terms of Islamic fundamentalism. So, you know, a lot of it will be the capacity of the German authorities, intelligence security forces, to be able to prioritize where the threats are and track the most important and most significant threats to German national security. I think that's another major factor. What are the capabilities that Germany has got, and how is it going to deploy those? And what is the significance of not just the right-wing threat, but the left-wing, but the fundamentalist threat that we see coming from people like the Islamic State, and how do you prioritize those in terms of securing protection for the people? So I think that's going to be an ongoing battle that they have, along with the political battle that the German Chancellor has with the immigration policies that she's adopted over the last 10 years.
All right, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Michael, thanks very much for joining us with those perspectives and inputs.